He was Sinatra's right-hand man. He was there at CBGB's in '77, Sunset Strip in '81, and he's still going strong today. His name is Jack.
So before we begin talking about the exhibition, Unexhibition, and talking about what we'll be speaking about, it's essential that I start from the idea of why the portrait for the portrait project.
I think it started with a very selfish reason. One being the fact that I've always really enjoyed the portrait and the evolution of the portrait from the Renaissance period to, let's say, contemporary art, where video art also employs facial and body representation. So that really interests me, but there were a couple of reasons. One being the interesting relationship between an artist and a patron. It often started with a portrait, and I think that's something we should keep in mind. Second is the evolution. Like I said, the portrait may have died 5 or 6 times in the history of art, but it's always revived itself through different art forms, and it's really, really interesting to see the importance that it plays in different time periods. So that was the second reason, and then I think the last reason would be the fact that art is so amorphous today, and different artists are expressing the portrait in such a unique manner. So that's the reason why we picked up the portrait, and I do feel like a lot of people do question us, and they wonder if we ever feel like there'll be a roadblock. But I don't think so. I think the sky is the limit with the portrait.
Carrying forward the conversation about the portrait project and the idea of portrait, when I think about the portrait project being a relatively younger project, but still having such a niche involvement in ideologically, only looking at the portraits and looking at different forms of portrait in mediums, how is it for you as a gatherer, as somebody who's managing it, a space to find other artists putting similar work that complies to the rules or the kind of idea the portrait project has? Do you have a certain criteria going to which a portrait is defined by you or the way you look at it?
The truth is, the scouting has become easier, and I really depend on the curatorial director, to take me to meet artists and do studio visits. I think a lot of it is just gut. There are a lot of times, though I've been to studios, I've loved work, but it just hasn't fallen under the gallery mandate or under the mandate of the show that we are planning. So those are things that we do struggle with. But I think when you know, you know. There are artists' works that I've seen online, and I've just fallen in love with it, and I get in touch by email, and they're in the show. Yeah. So I don't think there's any hard and fast. Coming back to your question, there's no set criteria. I think it depends on various factors. One being sometimes being the theme of the show. One being we have to love it.
Right.
You can only promote something if you love it, and it's just helped me. It's made my eye grow stronger because I'm specializing.
Right.
But to a huge degree, it is our take on the portrait, and when we go around, you'll see that it's an unconventional way of looking at the portrait as well, and that'll always be the case. It will be our take on the portrait.
Right. And why I specifically asked you that question is because, again, like you mentioned earlier in your brief conversations, that of course people might walk in and ask, how is that a portrait?
Yeah.
Because again, the idea of portrait is still so fossilized. It's a straight-facing image, a painting or a photograph, and only has a subject that represented in an intended way.
Sure.
But then you also have a couple of very daring artists in your collection who have some very important work, which is often provocative, often different, and not exactly our presumed idea what a portrait might look like.
Sure.
And I think taking further from that particular thought, and now taking further the idea of Unexhibition, how exactly did the idea behind Unexhibition, and then to take that into a space like Hauz Khas, antiSocial, come together for you?
As you guys may know, we work in different spaces, and we're not stuck on working through the one model. We do our shows in very, very unconventional spaces. The last one was done at Bakhera, which is like an abandoned warehouse. And then the one before that was done at Stainless, which is a more traditional space because it was our first show. We've also done a show at Ellipsis in Bombay, which is a restaurant, and we transformed the space overnight. The reason why we chose anti-social for this is because I actually don't consider this to be a show, I consider this to be a curatorial project. And what I mean by that is it's a chance for viewers or enthusiasts or people who are intrigued by art or not intrigued by art to come and engage with it beyond just being merely passive viewers. So actually curating their own show, curating from an extensive collection that we are providing them, but making art light, fun. What bothered me or what is bothering me since I've been back in India is that people are really intimidated by art. I think I was too, and that's a problem because art should not intimidate. Galleries should not intimidate. And our gallery is a young gallery, so we want to engage with the age group of 20 to 40, you know. We want people to just walk in and learn. And that's the reason why we came up with Unexhibition. So what it is it's a chance to make art accessible, approachable, fun, and a real-time experience. And actually we're working with Wall to do the blog, to blog the process of installing a show. So it's almost like the viewers are invited into the space through cumulative ideating. And what I mean by that is you can love a work, you can hate it, and you may not even have a reason for it, and that's okay.
Right.
But through cumulative ideating.
Because the value is spontaneity, the value is impulse.
Exactly.
Right.
And it could be a really mundane reason. For example, if I see a John Lennon portrait in the gallery and I'm listening to a John Lennon song while driving to the
That
space.
could be your pick.
That could be your pick, and that's the point of Unexhibition. You don't always have to have a profound reason to like something, you know, when it comes to art. It could be really stupid as well, or it could be really simple. And that's what I love about art. That's what I've always loved about art, is that it's so personal. And that's what we're trying to do through this project. So we pick pieces of art, and then we have to Uber rides that will take us to antiSocial to install the works there. And it's almost like we're going to be like the Nazis, plundering some art from the Portrait project and taking it to antiSocial to install.
Whose work is this actually? This one? This was really beautiful.
So, it's all about his parents. A lot of it is about his parents separating. So I think actually this work was painted upside down to also show this upside down character of his life. But we installed it this way because we thought it was more powerful. I think that's a portrait of his father. To be very honest, I'm a bit of a mad hatter, and like ideas come to me and I'm really quick at executing. But I have to, whatever we've done, we've really felt fun. I think that's really important. We'll keep doing work because we love doing shows and we love being proactive. At the moment, there's not something I'd like to unveil, but I will say that because I feel so strongly about this aspect of art education and accessibility and making art light, I think the next show is going to be on art and humor. Or portrait and humor. So that is something that I'm kind of
Working on.
starting to ideate about, yeah.
Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.